So we're going to go in some categories, and the first category is good news. Yes, there is some about, a fair amount, and an increasing amount as well. Now, the US federal government, in collaboration with Yale University, has held clinical trials to determine what the best messaging would be to persuade Americans to take the COVID-19 vaccine when it's ready. And the news of this study does show an interest in finding the best way to persuade people into an ideal decision for the federal government and likely vaccine makers. And it also shows that a mandatory vaccine campaign may still be the plan B down the road as opposed to plan A. The very fact that they're discussing this tells you they're losing the narrative. Here's another example. Americans' trust in the media to report news honestly continues to spiral downwards, as 86% of respondents in a new Gallup poll say they are either a great deal or a fair amount of political bias being put out by the portal people. And the ratio of people who see at least a fair amount of bias in the way news is covered has increased by 25% during the Obama and Trump presidencies, as it stood at 62% in 2007. Now, 84% of respondents blame the media for political divisions in this country, and 49% said news coverage has a great deal of bias. Most Americans have lost confidence in the media to deliver the news objectively, according to the Knight Foundation Senior Vice President Sam Gill. And he said this is corrosive for our democracy. Well, actually, we're not a democracy, but there you go. And the survey of 20,000 Americans also showed that respondents believe the biased and erroneous reporting is deliberate and by design. 74% believe that the media companies' owners are influencing news coverage, while 54% said inaccuracies are reported on purpose. Oops. 28% said reporters make up their stories entirely. And supporters of both major political parties, 94% of Republicans and 78% of Democrats, largely agree that there's at least a fair amount of bias. But Republicans are more bothered by the unbalanced reporting, with 75% having an unfavourable view of the media, and only 22% of Democrats have an unfavourable view. This is why they created fact checkers for the alt media, because we are the news now. And it is a massive victory by the alt media over the CIA scripted and biased mainstream media news. The fact that so many now are turning away is good news. Now, there's some good news in the fight against the coronavirus. Whilst nowhere near the pandemic that is being perpetrated around the world, there is a virus that causes issues, health issues to people. And a vaccine trial in Novosibirsk has reported that none of its participants have suffered side effects. And meanwhile, a new Russian medicine appears to finally be effective against COVID-19. All volunteers inoculated by the Vector State Research Center of Virology and Biotechnology in the Siberian capital are all in good health, as it was announced on Tuesday. Now, shortly afterwards, the Russian medics revealed the results of the pilot part of phases 2 and 3 of clinical trials of avifavir, which is a domestic-based drug capable of suppressing the coronavirus. Now, avifavir accelerated the removal of the coronavirus from the body in more than half of the patients involved and caused no serious side effects. Now, the pilot part of the randomized and open clinical trials demonstrated that avifavir possesses rapid antiviral action and eliminated the virus in just 4 days in 62.5% of the patients. And they said soon we will study how different dosages influence the rate of recovery. And in the first vaccine testing trial, 3 volunteers out of 5 have already been inoculated. The 4th will be vaccinated on August the 5th. And the volunteers remain under constant medical observation, and so far, no situations requiring medical intervention has arisen. Now, the 5 volunteers aged 18 to 30 are participating in the first stage of the clinical trials, and they entered the study in turns in a stop-time regime with 72-hour intervals.